Hey everybody, welcome to another comic book review. In this video, I'll be talking about Gene Luen Yang's two-part graphic novel, Boxers and Saints. So this is the boxed set. It contains both of them, and I'm going to be reviewing both of them in this video. So we have Boxers and Saints, and together they tell two sides of one story. So they tell the story of the Boxer Rebellion, which was a conflict that happened in the late 19th century going into the very, very early 20th century in China. And basically what happened is the Christians, a bunch of Christian missionaries that were foreign, came into China and tried to preach Christianity to the Chinese people. And some of them converted to Christianity, and others completely rebelled and didn't want any part of it. And those rebels are the focus of Boxers. So Boxers follows a young boy. He starts off as a young boy, and they call him Little Bao. And he is the youngest son of this family. There's a father who's well respected in the community, and he has two older brothers who are kind of brutes, but you know they're kind of seen as like held in higher regard than Little Bao is because they're older than he is. So whenever Christian missionaries come into Bao's town in China, Bao is absolutely outraged because the Christians destroy the statues and the things that represent their gods that they worship, and the Christians came in and just completely uprooted their way of life in that community. So Little Bao decides that he wants to rebel against this and serve justice. And so he learns Kung Fu, or martial arts rather, and he learns different types of martial arts. And he goes to train with this old man at a mountaintop, and the man teaches him all sorts of things. And basically what ends up happening is Bao ends up becoming the commander of the Society of the Righteous and Harmonious Fist, which is basically the Boxer army, the rebel army. And he becomes this highly respected kind of figure that goes and serves out justice. But there comes a point when it's like, when is it too far? When does it become enough, and when is it crossing a line? And that's when people are killed, and entire towns are destroyed, and it just becomes an ugly situation. Now, the thing that I love about this two-part graphic novel is that Gene Luen Yang always has had like kind of a trademark in his books, which is that he infuses fantasy with realism. So even though this is a lot of it is like true historical events that actually happened, I mean, this is a historical fiction story, there's also a lot of like fantastical elements too that are taken from figures that are deeply rooted in Chinese mythology. And so you have these gods that all of the boxers transform into whenever they fight. And it's the coolest thing. This this is definitely my favorite half of Boxers and Saints. I think it not only is it longer, but it also gives more time to get attached to the characters and presents some concepts that I think are just absolutely awesome. Um, I love this book. Now, this continues in Saints, which is basically the same story of the Boxer Rebellion, but told from the point of view of a young girl. She starts off the story named Four Girl. She was never given a name. They just call her Four Girl because she was the fourth girl to be born to her family. And nobody in her family likes her. They all are absolutely horrible to her. And she's constantly trying to prove herself that she is worthy of their love, but her family just does not respect her, and they don't treat her with love and kindness. And so she goes out of her way to become a devil because her grandfather says that she must be possessed by the devil in order to like carry on the way she does. And so she decides, I'm going to be the best devil there ever was. And in turn, she discovers Christianity. And it's funny because in Boxers especially, the term that they use for the Christian missionaries, the foreign missionaries, is the foreign devils, because the Boxers saw the Christians come into their town and destroyed their religious symbols and try to force them to accept their way of religion and their way of life. And so Four Girl decides that she wants to be a devil, and in turn ends up converting to Christianity and becomes a Christian. And so she joins with the missionaries, both the foreign missionaries and also the Chinese Christians that converted. And she basically adopts this new way of life, and she becomes exiled by her family, but she finds a new home in the Christian community. And whereas in Boxers, a lot of the fantastical imagery was, the Boxers transforming into gods in order to fight, a lot of the fantastical imagery in here is Four Girl sees Joan of Arc, and Joan of Arc becomes kind of her spiritual guide. And that's really a cool element to this story that I really appreciated. Now, a cool thing about this book that honestly, I don't think, I like the kind of the meaning that it has, because this is kind of like a character that never really knew happiness. Four Girl, she never really knew happiness until she converted to Christianity and took up a new name, her Christian name, Vibiana. And so until becoming Vibiana, she never really knew happiness. So this book is, for the most part, presented in black and white, or various shades of gray, whereas Boxers is presented almost all in color. Now, there are exceptions. Of course, there's gold all throughout the book whenever Joan of Arc is present, and that's a really nice touch, I think. Now, this book, I'm not as big of a fan of this second half as I am of Boxers, only because I find Viviana harder to identify with, because even though she is um, mistreated by many people around her, um, she's also kind of rude and obnoxious and not easily identifiable. She's not easy to identify with until the end, that is. Until she finds something to believe in, something to stand up for. Um, then you get to see kind of where her life takes her and how she kind of steps into this role of um, like, okay, now I see why she is the main character and why we're supposed to care about her. But the fact that it takes so long for the audience to care about her um, kind of didn't draw me in as immediately as Boxers did. Now, that being said, this book, Saints, has an absolute gut punch of an ending. I think it's an incredible ending. Um, and the cool thing about Boxers and Saints is you can read the two of them in any order. Um, it doesn't really matter which one you read first. Um, I mean, basically, like I read Boxers first and then finished with Saints. Now, there's really no correct order to read them in. You can read them any order you want, but I feel like the impact is more significant if you read Boxers first and then finish with Saints, because the ending of Saints harkens back to Boxers, and it's absolutely fantastic. And I remember the first time I read this two-part graphic novel, I was absolutely floored by that ending. And I remember just like my jaw dropped and I was just blown away. Um, so the ending of Saints I like much better than the ending of Boxers. But as a whole, I think Boxers is a stronger first half than Saints is. Um, but still, combined, this is one of the greatest examples that I can think of a historical fiction story in comics, um, or one of the first ones that comes to mind when I think of a great historical fiction story in the comic book medium. Uh, Boxers and Saints by Gene Luen Yang, absolutely fantastic. And I do think that it is um, one of, if not Yang's best work. Um, I like it more than most of his other books, actually. And I do like his other books as well, the ones that I've read. But this two-parter in particular, absolute masterpiece. Um, I think it's awesome. And I think if you have an interest in history, if you have an interest in religion, learning about different cultures and how different cultures see different types of religions, how they react to just different types of forms of spirituality. I feel like if any of that is up your alley in any way, um, I would highly recommend Boxers and Saints by Gene Luen Yang. Anyway, thank you as always for watching. Those are my thoughts on Boxers and Saints. Look forward to more videos in the future, and have a great day.